Would you say that, because you, like you said about working with Bjergsen, I actually wonder what it's like to work with Doublelift, because here's what's funny. Maybe because of the timing of when we're doing this interview now, people will finally see that, like, in some ways, he is a brilliant League of Legends player, but I don't think I would never describe him as like a cerebral player. I don't think he's like super intelligent in general, but we'll just say in the game to be polite, right? I always just got the sense that like what worked with him, and it's a bit like what you said about the mid lane position, is if you have like a really amazing lane dominant ADC like him who gets fed and gets a load of gold, to some degree that you should listen to them and let them call some of the shots, because essentially they'll know like when they're strong, they'll know when to group, they'll know if they can fight a dragon or if they can come and win a team fight. So to some degree, you do listen to them. But I wondered, what was your interaction with him like? I mean, you played with the Spicy Forgiven before, so what was it like to play with Doublelift?
I mean, in some ways, Doublelift was pretty similar to Forgiven, but in other ways, he was very different. So he was easier to work with than Forgiven, definitely. I think Doublelift was also just... I think going in from 16 to 17, he changed a lot, and even 16 spring to 16 summer, I think he changed a lot, so it got a lot easier to work with him, and he kind of realized that he can't just always play aggressively. I think that was a big mind shift change from him as a person, was like, okay, sometimes when my jungler is pathing towards top, I shouldn't be trying to push bottom. The jungler can probably gank me. I remember this from our scrims was like something that was crazy to him, like, when my jungler's pathing top, that means the enemy jungler can be pathing down, and I shouldn't be trading too much. That was like a thing as a team we went over. So that was pretty crazy. But yeah, I think he was easy to work with in the sense that he stepped up a lot as a person, and also me back then, like, I didn't really know how to play the game that well, so I wasn't really stepping up in communication and how to play the game, like the macro point of the game. So it was easy to play with him because he was just stepping up in that sense of saying, like, even if it's not the right thing, like, he was just telling the team what the fuck to do. So, like, hit Baron. I was like, okay, Doublelift said it, let's hit Baron, you know? So it was just like a confidence thing, definitely. And yeah, he just had a lot of confidence.
By the way, people always wondered what was the relationship between Doublelift and Bjergsen like, because I have to say, in the years later, they still seemed friendly, but it seemed like they were a little bit spicy. They were like mildly trash talk each other. What was the relationship between the two like?
I would say that relationship was really good, to the sense that outside of the game, they're really good friends. I think during the game it was very heated, and during reviews it was very heated. Every single review were somebody arguing about something for like 20, 30 minutes. It was me and Bifrost just sitting on the sidelines, getting flamed, tanking the heat sometimes, and then when we're not getting flamed, it was Hunter, Bjergsen, and Doublelift just trying to one-up each other, flame somebody. Like, they're like arguing about the game. Obviously, it was like, I think it was really good that we had like a lot of constructive criticism, and we were like on edge, or like willing to talk to each other about what we thought people were doing wrong or messing up on. But definitely it was like it was a little toxic back then.
Right, there was a story that Sven told me from his time in TSM, and I've known a lot of the players that played in TSM, and this story sounds entirely accurate to a lot of reports, where basically people might know, like, my joke is that Reginald was almost just like some sitcom character that, like, during the review, it's like he just busts in the room, and then it's like, whoa, and then all of a sudden it's all about like what Reginald's saying and what he's thinking, and people might know, it used to even be on like the TFSL Legends, there'd be all those things where you'd almost think like, is this a skit? Like, this isn't real, surely. Where he's like I remember some of them where he'd be like arguing back in the day with that you bought the wrong boots, and you were like, you didn't even play top lane, what? Like, and he would have such weird, almost like solo queue level, like almost like a Reddit fan giving advice, right? And the story Sven told was really crazy, because he said that eventually, by the time he joined TSM, Bjergsen and Parth would just take anyone new aside and go, look, if Reginald comes in, like, don't argue with him. Whatever he says, just say like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do it again different next time. Because if you argue, it just takes 20 minutes and you're going to have to say he's right anyway, because it's Reginald, he's your boss. And basically, if you just say like, oh, okay, then he'll just leave eventually and think that you're going to fix it or whatever. Have you got any stories like this? Was it ever like this with Reginald in your team?
I mean, countless times. I think that one of the things that it was crazy. I mean, I think Doublelift just never refused to back down from an argument.
Oh, right.
And same with Reginald, so they would just keep going forever. It was just non-stopping. Everyone else on the team kind of realized, like, yeah, it's not really no point in arguing against him, you know, like he's gonna come in for one scrim and then he's not gonna be here for like 2 more weeks. So nothing he says is really, it's not gonna change the outcome of what we're practicing. But it's like, sure, like he might have some good ideas, you know, it might be useless, but I mean, we still kind of respect him, you know, like he's good at the game, or he was, and he's the owner of the team, you know, like we kind of have to listen to what he says sometimes, you know, so. But yeah, I remember him and Peter would just go at it relentlessly.
Right, obviously Sven had the really funny line, which I know he just must have remembered because it's so ridiculous, where it's apparently Reggie did say to Sven, like, why don't you just dodge the Kaiser Q, which is a targeting ability if people don't know. So like, obviously you can't dodge it if they're just within range, just hits you. Did he ever have a funny one like that with you? Did he ever give you any whack, like advice for how to play jungle, or you should have done a build differently or something?
The one that just stands out to me is him flaming Bifrost for not knowing which arm Blitzcrank hooks out of. So Blitzcrank hooks out of the left arm or the right arm or something, and we were trying Blitzcrank, and after the game, it didn't go that well, right? And then he was asking Bifrost, like, hey, do you even know what the fuck side of the arm like Blitzcrank hooks out of? And then apparently that's really important because you know how to dodge the Blitzcrank.
Oh, right, I see, yes.
Or something. Even though I'm pretty sure it goes in the same line, like no matter what, it's a skill shot, it comes straight, but he was adamant on like, yeah, he comes from the right, so you have to dodge it differently. And Bifrost didn't know which side, so we just were not allowed to play Blitzcrank after that because he didn't know what side it came out of.
There you go. Okay, classic.
To see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.